Oh yeah, get excited for that time once again. Average Sports time. Average Sports by your average guys, Eric and Ty. We're back once again. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We got a good show here coming up for you. Eric, how you been?
Dude, I'm doing amazing.
You excited to talk
Another
about some
day.
Sports? You ready to get your average on?
Can't wait. Let's do it.
Right down
Nothing
the middle.
but straight C's here, baby.
Oh, yeah. C plus if you're lucky, but that's as best as we get. Yeah.
Sometimes.
Anyway, what are we not talking about in this show?
Hey, man, we are not talking about Russell Westbrook and his OKC Thunder.
Yeah, it wasn't much of an
again
upset, was it?
In the first round. 3 years in a row.
Yeah, don't care. Moving on. But we will cover some NBA playoffs. And an exciting series is actually even being played out right now. The Boston Celtics and Milwaukee. Yeah. The Bucks. They're going at it. What game are they in? Game 2?
No, they just finished game 2. So,
oh, okay.
As we're recording,
yeah, you're right.
Yeah, game 2 just finished.
So the Bucks tied
Milwaukee
it up.
went ahead and threw a haymaker back at him. So
yeah, that is
tied 1-1.
It's a very sensational series. I think that's highly entertaining. It's worth tuning in for.
Well,
anyway.
Yeah, I think that's what's important to note about the NBA playoffs, man. No one cares about the first round.
No.
I'm sorry. Like,
we talked about that before.
Huge NBA fan. Yeah, and we have talked about it. But the first round just doesn't matter in the NBA playoffs. It's maybe one series, maybe two that are going to catch your attention. But second round on,
right?
Totally flip that
game
script.
on,
it's super
right?
exciting.
Yeah. Now things can start turning up, and some surprises and underdogs can make a deeper run if they're, for those matchups that actually, I don't know if once you get to the second round, everyone's kind of got a shot. Unless you're Golden State. They're still in the finals, I'm sure. Although,
Golden State is championship or bust.
Yeah.
So if they aren't
year over year,
competing
but
at that
they
level,
are playing Houston, so that's just a little teaser there. Real quick about NHL playoffs. Man, there's some good stuff happening in their second round.
Ooh,
and especially
absolutely.
as we covered, those top seeds that have lost out. So it's kind of anyone's playoffs. I really like that. That is very intriguing as we move forward, including the Avalanche. They're one of the lowest seeds coming into all the playoffs, and they tied their series up against San Jose. So that should be very interesting. I think Game 3 for that series is happening right now as we record this. So we'll have to touch base next time we hop on the mic and see what happens there. But some neat stuff happening all around on both ends, NBA and NHL. And you were just talking about this before the show, before you had your cookies, Eric.
Cookies, baby. Your cookies, gotta have something.
No eating while we record. The NHL has been the top, highest rated, most watched in how many years?
So the 2019 Stanley Cup playoffs have been the most watched first round in the past 7 years on traditional cable, 25 years overall if you include the streaming involved in that. So in the last 25 years, this is the most watched first round of the NHL playoffs they've had, including the Hurricanes and Capitals Game 7 was the most watched first round cable game on record. So congratulations to the NHL. Their first round is the exact opposite of the NBA first round.
Right.
Just ignore the NBA first round and just only watch the NHL hockey. First round.
Right. Totally
going to get your money's worth there. They also had the most live streamed first round ever. I'm not surprised in this day and age that's where we're headed, that's also there as well for them too. So the NHL has done really, really well. They had great series and all 8 series that were there. There wasn't one that was, in my opinion, truly one-sided other than the Columbus-Tampa Bay series, which obviously was completely unexpected by probably anybody that's ever watched a game of hockey in their lives. Was like, there's no chance for Columbus. And Columbus is like, hold on, man, not too fast.
Wait a minute, we can do something. Yeah, and there they are in round 2. It's pretty cool. And for the first time I heard announcers talking about their cannon that goes off on goals going in and how it might actually distract the opponents. I don't know how much that is really going to be a factor. You have a foghorn playing anywhere else, so why not a cannon? But anyway, still interesting. Good for them. Good for Cleveland. Columbus. What am I saying?
Not Columbus.
Yeah, it's the same state. Come on.
It is the same state, but not
give
the
them
same
knowledge.
city.
It's a slip of the tongue, yeah. Because we're going to talk draft here in a little bit. But before we do, I want to say, though, to the fact of the ratings that you're mentioning on the NHL playoffs, I have my theory is that we have so many teams that have really never won before. You're going to get that fan base, I think, built up, a little more excited and more inclined to watch. Even though we were just talking about the Washington, that Game 7 game, right? That was the one that broke the record?
Yeah. Yep,
so
correct.
are they going to repeat or not, right? I think that, and they've only won the one cup, and it took them so long. So they have a lot of fans investing a lot of interest there. And outside of, who do we have? The Bruins are still in, so they've won 6 cups.
Bruins are really
that's the
only,
most by far. Yeah,
that's also the most recent team,
right?
That has won the cup. Before that, Carolina won a cup. Colorado's won a cup back in 2001. I think was their last one.
01.
And there's a couple others there as well too. But
you're the Stars have won one. So really, if you collected all the cups that 99. They've won, they've only had a handful of cups. Whereas normally you get a few other teams in the mix in the playoffs that have been around. They have that lot of success where it's just kind of it's NHL playoffs. It's not that exciting. But now you get the Golden Knights and the Sharks and the Preds and Blues and the Avs and the Stars. Who was going to mention that these guys don't win a lot of cups, and so it's really exciting. I think for once again that fan base, really easy to get excited over. So I think we're going to see some pretty high ratings through the rest of the playoffs. Agreed.
I think you'll see really high ratings, especially in those markets, because those are teams that aren't traditionally. Obviously used to either being, this deep into the playoffs or in the case of San Jose or St. Louis that have traditionally been really great playoff teams, or not great in the playoffs, but they've been in the playoffs forever, but they haven't necessarily won the cup. I think you're going to see an increase in even in those markets as well too. But overall, I don't know that overall they're going to be able to keep up these ratings when your key markets and your key players are no longer around. Sidney Crosby, Alex Ovechkin, those are the faces of the NHL. They're no longer around playing in the playoffs. I think long-term that may hurt their ratings.
I think that's a very fair point. A very fair point. But the drama is unfolding where, again, you have all these top seeds that have been bumped off. It is a big mystery this year. There is no clear-cut best team right now. That is going to have to be proven. Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's intriguing to us, the casual NHL fan, the avid NHL fan. But is it to the person that doesn't really know much about the NHL? So I guess, the general market, are they really going to be intrigued if they don't know maybe some of these players? So I think that's really where you get the bulk of it, because your regular NHL fans are going to tune in regardless, I think. So,
all right. Fair enough.
Yeah, we'll see long term, but I think you make a really good point there too. So.
Well, you had one more shout out for our intro. This is a really long intro. You got Chris Davis on here.
We're only about 9 minutes in.
Nah, no big
deal. K-ris Davis. In case you guys didn't see, I just have one thing to point out. K-ris Davis, or Chris Davis of the Baltimore Orioles, who a couple weeks ago finished his hit list streak and has actually been playing quite well. Mm-hmm. And since that hit list streak, he's had quite a few home runs. He's driven in a bunch of, RBIs and he's doing really well. But he had to pitch the other night, and the Orioles got completely rocked, like I think most people expect them to do.
Typical.
But he did have one inning pitch. He gave up 1 run, no walks. He did give up 1 homer, which was his 1 run. He threw 22 pitches, 16 of them for strikes, and had 1 strikeout. So position player actually getting a strikeout, which is super cool. You do occasionally see it early in the season where position players have to come in and pitch. For whatever reason, but K-ris Davis, as he'll be known at least on this episode. Yeah. Congratulations to him.
Okay, 10-20 by the way on the year for Baltimore. So keep it up, guys. Really,
not great.
Bang up job.
Not great. It's early, man. It's early. We got We all like it.
Well, what's not early is this episode. We're midway through already. Let's get into our topic. What the heck are we talking about? Focusing on the NFL draft. Quick reactions, Eric. What do you think?
Ooh, I think Giants fans are pissed.
Yeah, what's going on there? What's the theory? What's the hypothesis that you got?
I mean, I'm actually really close friends with a couple of Giants fans, and I think they were just spinning it because our text thread is more of a crap talking.
Yeah, and just in case anyone's listening, the draft was recent, right? Giants had the sixth pick overall in the first round. They picked up a quarterback from Duke. That's Daniel Jones. I don't know much about this kid. One bit. So
yeah, I don't know.
Educate us, enlighten us.
I mean, it's kind of hard. Duke is not a team that's going to be on TV a lot. They're just not.
Yeah, of course.
Obviously they're not an SEC team. Regardless of where you live, that's probably going to be the prominent team. If you live on the West Coast, you're definitely not getting ACC Duke games, even if you're in an ACC area. So Florida, Georgia, whatever. Like Duke is not the team that's playing. So a lot of people probably don't know Daniel Jones, but if you look at some of the stats, he's not overly accurate. He's, there are a couple games in there that just really, really exemplify, hey man, like I'm not all that great. He had a game against Wake Forest that just was abysmal and had like an 18 quarterback rating, which, I mean, I'm being sarcastic here, but I could go out there and dress up for Duke and probably get a better rating than 18 is a right. quarterback rating. But, what was surprising
I want to see that.
Really was that someone like Dwayne Haskins was left on the board when they could have taken Dwayne Haskins at 6. And he actually fell, just because some teams didn't necessarily need him, although I thought Cincinnati would have been a great team to take him. I thought Miami would have been a great team to take Dwayne Haskins, but they didn't. And he fell to Washington at 15. So good pickup for Washington, although, Washington hasn't really been all that great with their quarterback choices either. And, then there's that's it. I mean, there was even someone like Drew Lock, which a lot of people think is going to end up being the best quarterback of this actual draft. Now, Drew Lock has his own question marks as far as actually being able to play up the competition. But as far as the metrics go, the arm strength, him being able to make NFL passes in college, he was able to do it. So it just seemed a little bit questionable, and Dave Gettleman has already riddled himself with a lot of questionable decisions as the GM of the New York Giants. So if you get a chance, look through Twitter, look through Facebook, and find the reactions of New York Giants fans, in particular the one at MetLife Stadium where they're all booing for taking Daniel Jones at 6th overall, which seemed quite high. They probably could have traded back to 10, 11, 12 and taken him, and gotten their same guy. Hell, they probably could have stayed at 17 and still gotten him, in my opinion.
All right, there's a long-winded explanation on one pick. How about maybe a team that made a good pick?
I like the team right after them. Yeah. Jacksonville, Josh Allen, the edge rusher from Kentucky.
Okay, defensive end linebacker.
Dude is an absolute monster.
Yeah.
And I think he's really going to add to that defense there.
And Kentucky had a really good year, so that might speak to something.
Yeah,
there.
surprisingly,
okay. I like it.
Surprisingly good year. And another guy that I love what Pittsburgh did. Where did they pick? They traded up
Devin Bush
with Denver. They took Devin Bush out of Michigan. I love that pick for them. I think he's a perfect fit for Pittsburgh. I think that attitude matches what they had there. I think they needed a linebacker to fill some holes there, and I think they traded up and they got a really, really, really good player in Devin Bush. So really love what Pittsburgh did here. Good job for them.
Interesting. And I noticed one of the first, if you count quarterbacks the first offensive or position player to go out is a tight end out of Iowa to the Detroit Lions. What do you think of that? For some reason, that stuck out to me. Is that something that much of a need for them?
I definitely think it's a need for them. A couple years ago, they drafted Eric Ebron in the first round, and they really needed a tight end there. And that didn't really work out for them in Detroit, whether it's a connection between Ebron and Stafford or whatever. But he ended up going to Indianapolis and having a great year. And they really needed to kind of fill that position. They didn't end up doing it last year. And so they